The Chicago Bulls front office was recently ranked 29th in the NBA according to CBS Sports. But the question is, do many people around and including Bulls fans need to update their thinking on the Chicago Bulls front office? We're going to talk about all that plus more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Pat, let's get into it, man. CBS Sports ranked all the front offices around the NBA. And, you know, the Bulls can't get any love. The Bulls are ranked 29th in that ranking. Now, the thing is, I don't know if you got a chance to read the blurb or not. The dude, you could tell he just wanted to give the Chicago Bulls number 30. Like, it was just predetermined when it came down to it. But, hey, how do you feel about that ranking, Pat? And we'll talk about some of the teams around the Bulls coming up.
I can't be mad at it because we're going off of what the Bulls have done in the past, right? I would assume this does not include this current off season and kind of where we're at right now. But off of the past, I mean, it makes sense. Listen, the Patrick Williams contract is horrible. It is horrible. Like you paid a dude off of the hope that he was going to take this step that you kept saying he was going to take. And at a minimum, me and you were like, well, listen, at least if he plays the level of defense that we've seen him play in the past, modern NBA dictates that defenders that are giving you 10 and 6, something like that, can get a bigger bag. He's not taking up a ton of your salary cap. He stopped doing that. He was like, defense doesn't exist. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just tall, long arms, not doing much out here. I understand why they went that route, and a lot of the things that the Bulls have that could take us in the right direction and make you feel like you could be better are still hope. We don't know what Noa Essengue is going to develop into because we don't know how the Bulls development is going to be after they fired their player development, their head of player development. We don't know what the long-term for Matas is. I think most of us think there's going to be a pretty big step there, but there is still a if on that. Guess what? We thought Patrick Williams was going to take a step from year 1 to year 2 because of a 30-point game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Guess what he didn't do? He ain't took a step since 2021.
He's been the same.
It's
hey,
2025.
There's something remarkable about the fact that he can do the same thing regardless of where he's rolling. But let's not make this a Patrick Williams. Let's get back to the front office, right? I said I was going to talk about some teams around the Bulls. New Orleans Pelicans came in at number 30. Do you agree that they, over the, let's just say the last 18 months, are they the worst front office?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Bulls at number 29. The Sacramento Kings, are they worse than the Chicago Bulls? They are one spot above the Bulls. Keep in mind, a big part of their roster are former Bulls players.
I was going to say they're worse than the Bulls because they watched what happened with the Bulls in the East in a weaker Eastern Conference and were like, no, it could be better in the West.
Yeah. And I think
that's just wild logic.
And I think even outside of that, like you got to keep in mind, like part of the reason why they're here is you decided to fire Mike Brown, which alienated De'Aaron Fox, which then made him want to go. And then that's part of the bad front office decisions too. Now I do think they got some talent on their roster, but you know, okay. All right, let's take it a step further. The Phoenix Suns at number 27 have the most expensive payroll in the league for the last 2 years, and the Bulls have won more games than them. Are they worse or better than the Bulls?
I will put Phoenix above the Bulls because Phoenix's direction was go for it. They picked a direction. The Bulls haven't picked a direction. That's been my biggest issue with this team for the years. Now, did the direction work? No. Did the timeline work out? No. How they bounce back from it ain't bad. Like, I don't know what Phoenix is going to win this year, right? They maybe are just a bottom tier playoff team, maybe fighting for the play in. But how they kind of bounce back off of it in the team that they've assembled out in Phoenix this year. And I know there's no defense being played at all except for Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks is guarding 1 through 5. But I'm not mad at what they rebuilt there. So I'll give them above the Bulls still. But yeah, they deserve to be down there with us.
Again, this front office, not necessarily the roster. You think the front office has made better decisions than the Bulls?
Well, the front office has to build the roster.
Huh?
I said the front office has my big thing with AK is that you didn't pick a direction. Like, you have picked a direction. Like, at least Phoenix was like, we're going to go for it. It didn't work.
But activity is not accomplishment. Just because they picked a direction, they even picked that direction and they did an AK thing. You didn't get a point guard, which you needed for that roster.
Yeah.
You didn't have a big, which you needed for that roster.
Hey, I'll say this. If my didn't work is taking a chance on Kevin Durant, I'm living with that. Right? I'm begging for the Bulls to take it.
Bro, I know for a fact if the Bulls got Kevin Durant and we couldn't make the playoffs, you would be killing AK for getting Kevin Durant and not being able to make the playoffs.
I would be killing Billy Donovan. Now what I will say is this. The reason that they do belong down here, you fire the coach every year.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why truly they belong down here.
Coach?
Yeah, you fired a head coach every year. That's not a way to build a team. As much as I don't like the fact that we've just held on to Billy Donovan through what seems like to be just thin and thinner. I mean, Billy Donovan's lost hair since he's been here, if we're being honest. Like, he's not THT, but he may be working his way there. But how they have fired coaches is the reason that they're down here. I think it's the worst thing that they've done, and it's probably the worst detriment you had to the roster construction that you put together.
All right. Dallas Mavericks at 26.
I mean, this is heavily on the Luka trade. And I keep saying this, and I've said this publicly and privately. Like, I wouldn't have never traded Luka.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But
they got lucky and got Cooper out of it. So.
I mean, not even that. Like, Nico might be right. He went out with a lower back injury because he was kind of out of shape.
I guess we'll see.
Nico might be right. Like, we may do this every year and be like, this is the craziest trade of all time. And if we get the 5 years down the road and the Lakers have maxed out their roster with Luka Doncic, Nico was right.
Okay. The Milwaukee Bucks at number 24.
Yeah, because that Dame trade is horrible.
I was about to say that may be the worst trade in history,
hey, bro. That's one of the worst trades in history, bro. The only thing I was going to say was their hands have been tied by one of the best players we've ever seen. But that Dame trade was horrible, bro. Like,
Portland Trailblazers at number 23.
Hey, you traded a dude that literally ended up going out there and winning a ring the next year, bro. That's nuts.
A fact.
Yeah, because they've drafted horribly. Yeah, they deserve to be down here. They've drafted horribly. Maybe this year's the year it gets better, but like, Scoot Henderson sucks.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to skip up. This is the last one that I have that I'm going to pull out directly. Charlotte Hornets at number 20. How? Pat, you could build an all-star roster off their draft misses alone. Yeah. More than the Bulls. Yeah. Now, I get it. You got LaMelo there. You got Brandon Miller.
I think you've got 3 hits, though.
You do have hits.
They just are injury-prone hits. You got hits. It's just they can't stay healthy. So I get them being above the Bulls. Are you saying they should be below the Bulls?
No, I'm just saying I don't think they should be
them above Denver is crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
We admit that? Like the same front
Denver's
office
won a championship in the last 5 years. Like, what are we doing here?
That was nuts. The same front office that built Denver.
You talking about the Bulls drought? The Hornets haven't even been in the playoffs in a decade. They haven't won a playoff series in almost as long as Steve-O's been alive.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's been what, since Chris Paul?
Yes.
Yeah. That one might be the one. They might need to be below the Bulls. But I do. The tough part is, right, I think LaMelo's a hit. I think that Brandon Miller is a hit. I think that Mark Williams is a hit.
They don't have Mark Williams anymore.
You can't. You said what?
They don't have Mark Williams anymore. Traded him to the Suns.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. He was a part of that. Well, he still counts as the hit. Who'd they get back from Mark Williams?
I think, did they just get draft capital back from Mark Williams?
That's it.
Can't remember. I have to go back and look.
It is what it is. Yeah, you making a case. They've been bad for a long time, bro. You making a case. I might have to put them a little bit lower.
I'm just saying.
I might
All
have
right,
to put them.
I want to go with the number one team before we get out of here, and agree if you think this is the best front office in the last like we said 18 months. The OKC Thunder. Has it been a better? They may be the best front office of the decade, bro.
Nah, Boston.
You got Boston, the same amount of titles.
Hey, bro. Hey, but the thing is, well, different amount of finals appearance. Well, decade. When was Kevin Durant there? Is that a decade? Is that more than a decade
That's
ago?
way more than a decade.
That's
think.
crazy.
Yeah.
I would still say Boston. I know Oklahoma City just won, and so you give the front office the number one thing for that. Mm-hmm. The fact that they just paid up the last Kevin Garnett pick, like what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, that is.
Kevin Garnett been doing a podcast for 5 years, bro.
That's one of the greatest trades of all time, bro. Like that's. Yeah, that's
now, what I will say is that's a different front office. Danny Ainge was a part of that front office, but then you had Brad Stevens step in, and he's the one that got you to.
I feel like when you have a natural transition from the coach to that you get a little of the rub. You were in that room.
Yeah, that was a crazy trade, bro. That Kevin Durant trade, like that last pick being paid up like a year and a half ago,
bro,
blew my mind, bro. I was
crazy.
like, Paul Pierce and Kevin. There's no way Brooklyn thought they were gonna be that good, like.
Bro, Brooklyn
they lost to us.
They thought they were going to be winning titles, my boy. Like, that's crazy.
Bro, they lost to us with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, not with Kevin Durant. They lost to us with
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. Like, how did you do that? And y'all thought it was sweet with Marcus Teague out there. Nah, let me stop playing. I truly believe Marcus Teague.
All right. Next up, though, we're going to keep talking about the front office. Has AK and Eversley done a little bit better? Have they done better recently? We're talking a little bit about that. But first, we got to get to a message from FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with daily new promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and even makes regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. First of all, we I know this isn't Bulls related, but we got to talk about this. They allowing Uno to be bet on in casinos. I may go now, bro, because could you imagine? Could you imagine if you double down and get hit with a draw 4?
Bro, nah. See, this is the thing too, because I'm like, it's gonna have to be a table for like house rules. It's gonna have to be a table for real rules, bro. If you're on a table with stacks and you got your rent on the line and you feel like you finna come up and get a draw 16, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. They gonna have guns in that casino, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
We should see. But piggybacking off the last conversation. Has AKME and Eversley, have they done better? Have they restored? I don't know if saying restore your faith is a little too strong of wording there, but how have you felt about the moves they've made basically since the Matas drafting on? How have you felt about that?
I mean, the Matas draft is last year. I think that we've talked about all the first round picks that they've given up, but you brought back Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso, who it seems like that actually would work if you ever decide to sign him. You added Matas Buzelis to this team. I think the Zach LaVine trade brought you back some really nice pieces at a minimum. I would think if Kevin Huerter is traded this year, Kevin Huerter, you can get his value back up because he seems like he fits. Well, first off, he fits what most teams want to do in the modern NBA, but also it seems like he fits with this Bulls system. Where you might be able to get the percentages and things like that back up. I think you got a solid big and Zach Collins back for that deal. Listen, they've made smart moves. Am I going to sit here and tell Bulls fans that it has changed my perspective completely? No, I'd rather have picks. That's how I ride. Like if you're going to trade a player away, go get a young player that's a future piece that you can add to your team. I'd rather have picks. But am I going to sit here and tell you that they have made every single move that has turned out to be the wrong move? No. And it feels like that's where Bulls fans are. Getting what you got back for the Zach LaVine trade got you Matas. Or no, got you Noa Essengue. Right? Like, and there's a lot of Bulls fans who are all of a sudden excited because they've actually taken the time to watch him a little bit more. It got you Noa Essengue. Yes, he's a development piece, but like it could be a piece with a ton of upside. Should you have gotten more? Maybe, but that ship sailed already. That was a part of the bad decision making. To me, they've baselined it. You know what I mean? We're not dead, but the heartbeat's a little bit slower. It's kind of like the heartbeat's starting to come back to this team, but it's not a strong 180 beats per minute. I don't know how many beats you're supposed to have in a minute. That feels like a little high, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it's slowly getting there, right? Modest, solid, right? The draft, it makes sense. We got to re-up Josh Giddey. I think picking a style of play and now drafting players that fit that style of play is part of discovering that direction. If Modest and Noah end up being the front court that you hope they're going to be in the future, you're in a solid enough spot, right?
Yeah.
You have no bad contracts on your books right now. Well, let me not say that. P. Will is a bad contract, but you don't have anything that's really limiting your spending power going forward into the future. Once you get to that place, that's when I think you try to dump off Patrick Williams or whatever. But your books are relatively clean. You have all your first round picks. You've really kind of reset the deck. Now, I think the biggest thing is, what do you now do with this? What do you do with this expiring contracts? What do you do with the first round picks you have? What do you do with all the money that you can have in free agency? And that's going to be the telling part of this. Like you have basically reset everything from what you gave up to put DeMar, Lonzo, Vooch, and Zach LaVine together. You've reset that deck now. And I know Bulls fans have not yet reset their thinking there, but they've reset that deck. Now, what you do with that opportunity, that's the most important thing right here. And I guess we shall see. What they're going to do.
I mean, I think that's the tough part to sell, right? Like with everything you've done, you still were a play-in team that didn't make the playoffs.
Facts.
I don't think that anybody's prediction on that is different right now. Like my expectation for the Bulls next season is maybe for them to be a 500 team. Guess what that's going to get you? In the play-in. Maybe not in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like I can't sit here and tell you or sell them a bill of goods that says that everything's different. Now, do the Bulls have the opportunity to be better? Yes. Have the Bulls made better decisions to this point? Yes, they have. But it's still about the W's and L's. You know what I mean? Like I see front offices that it looks like they make great. We talk about Washington all the time, right? We're like, oh, they got a lot coming up. They have a ton of opportunity. You could tell that the GM of Washington now was the assistant GM in OKC.
Something over there. Okay, I think the assistant president of basketball ops. I think, but I could be wrong on that.
Something like that, right? Like there's all this. Oh, this is great. I mean, drafted Alex Seiler. Alex Seiler looked very mediocre to me last year. You know what I mean? Like he didn't look better than Matas, who was taking 11 spots after him. So and that's not what his career is going to be, right? He can still be a very good player, but you know, everything looks good until the W's and the L's are the things that truly matter. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? How many wins and losses are you getting? The reason that Boston's front office looks great is because they've developed pieces and they've gone to the playoffs just about every year since Jason Tatum showed up on that team.
That's a fact.
Like that's the biggest difference. And until you start doing that, it's tough to sit here and try and sell Bulls fans on, oh, AK's done everything perfectly. Like, yeah, it feels good. I like Matas. I like Kobe. I like Giddey. Let's see how many wins and losses they get this season.
Yep. And that's what it comes down to. Now, let me ask you this, Pat. If the Bulls can, and I'm not saying that I see them doing this, but if they can, let's say they get to 500 this year, what does that change your perspective on where the Bulls are?
I mean, what we get?
It's only two more wins. But
I was going to say, what we get last year? 39 wins. Like,
I mean, but when's the last time we've been above 500?
That'd be 3 more years. Like, does it? I guess it's about how it looks. How do the losses look? You know what I mean? Like, are you getting eviscerated, or is it like last year? Right? Like, let's be honest. And maybe we live in a different era of basketball, but the Kirk Heinrich Bulls weren't sitting here putting up 60 wins a season.
No,
they were a very competitive young team that was figuring it out. 42 wins. Like if you do that and you're a competitive team every night and you find your way to be a 6th seed in the playoffs and you have spunky playoff series that are entertaining, it will feel better about it. We'll say, hey, you're taking steps in the right direction. If you're 42 and half of the season was you getting absolutely clapped and the other half of the season was you fighting to stay above air and teams found a way to lose, then it's a different conversation. So I can't tell you how I would feel about the direction the team is unless I know how the team is playing. And I think the thought process is if they play like they did in the second half of last season, you would feel a heck of a lot better about the team going into that season. If they were a 42-43 win team, you probably would feel confident coming out of that season if they played that way for an entire year.
Yeah. And then we got to see, like, I think the confidence grows in where we are when the players that we know are part of the future are playing well in a big part of what we're doing. So, like, if we do win 40, 41 games next year, and Matas, whether it's at the start or whether it's the whole season or he's starting to come on towards the end of the season, and we leave that saying, hey, Matas, he started making that leap. Of course, that changes the perception that you have on that, right? Like, so we'll see where it gets to. It's a living thing with the Bulls, and it's not something that I think you can just put an arbitrary number on and say this means that the Bulls are this. Unless it's like if it's 50 wins, then yeah, that's different. But anything that's around the 40 to 42-ish win area, it does. You make a great point. It's about how we get there, how we're playing there, what do we look like, what's our record, and how we looked against above 500 teams. That starts becoming the question in that during that time. So
100%. Let's see. I mean, listen, we're seeing. One thing that would help this year is it seems like Noa Essengue may be predicted to start for the Chicago Bulls. We got to talk about that. But first, here's this double ad read thing.
Here's that double ad read.
Double ad read thing.
So Bleacher Report had an article in which they were doing predictions of all the first round picks and got to Noa Essengue, which of course that's where my attention is going to go to first. And even though he did say he may not start at the beginning of the season, the article did predict that Noa Essengue is going to be a starter for the Bulls by the end of the season, even quoting so much to say that his defense is more advanced than I think even what Billy Donovan realizes at this point. Now, we got to see a little bit more of it, but what do you think? Like, what chances do you give that Noa Essengue starts by the end of the season? And if he does, how does that change your perception on him?
What chance am I going to give it? I mean, I'll tell you this. If he is even in the conversation too, you've done a heck of a job developing him. I don't think he's at the point where he can be a starter. I do think his size is shocking. And that may help the conversation along, but I don't think he's at the point where he can be a starter. I understand he played really well in the summer league. Summer league is not the NBA. And it takes time for you to get adjusted to that. Now, I'd probably sit right now at about a 55% chance that he's starting by the end of the season. Cause to me, there's more developed pieces and the Bulls want to win.
Yeah.
The Bulls aren't just going to start Noah to feel good about throwing him out there. The reason they put Matas out there last season was because Matas legitimately gave you a better chance to win games than Patrick Williams did.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you're going to get that. Now, I guess the assumption is what? Matas moving to the 3 and he's at the 4? Noah's at the 4?
I would guess.
Who's your 3? Okoro you would have to assume that Essengue is giving you either better defense or more offensive efficiency from the power forward position than Matas is. I'm saying better defense than Okoro.
It would probably have to be that Noah's switchability and rim protection,
right,
is what that's what I would just guess that it would have to be.
Right. When I say better defense, I mean better than what you're probably, and I think Okoro's in the starting lineup, so better than what you're throwing out there with Isaac Okoro, or better than, if Kevin Huerter's in the starting lineup instead, better offensive production than what Kevin Huerter can give you. Like there's some combination there that they like better. That's a heck of a job at development. And if he is starting by the end of the season, I would love it. I would assume Vooch is probably gone at that point, because I'm be honest with you, bro. Like Noah and Vooch together does not sound good. That sounds like a terrible situation.
I actually don't hate it, but why do you feel it's a terrible situation?
I feel like Vooch would occupy a ton of the space that, and again, unless Noah is changing his game, right? Like the one thing I didn't see from Noah in summer league, it don't look like his handle has improved that much to this point.
Yeah, true.
From
he's
where
gonna
he's
need
at
somebody
in
to
frame.
create for him. That's
So
why
he's going to need somebody to create for him. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. Either you're going to have Vooch go back to being a 3-point shooting dude where he was very inefficient at, where it was like just stand out there and shoot threes and stay out of Noah's way, or you really can't have them on the floor together. I would see Jalen Smith maybe, or Zach,
let me fight back on that just in the sense is that I don't think that they're really worried about Noah. I think if Noah's going to get anything offensively, it's going to be him setting picks, diving to the rim, catching lobs. So I don't necessarily see that getting in the way of Vooch because I don't think they're going to be using Noah to do a lot of jump shots his rookie year. If he were to get in the starting lineup, I definitely get where you're coming from. Like if you're going to try to run offense, and then it can get a little congested. But I think that at least the vision that I would have if he does get in there, the offense is going to be the least of the thing unless we're in transition or he cuts to the rim. So I can see that working. It's not like Vooch has to become a 3. Like Vooch still does start his offense from the mid-range. So I can kind of see that working a little bit. It won't be seamless, but I can see it working.
Maybe. I think where my concern comes from it is like, where does Noah there is no 3-ball. I mean, I guess maybe that is it. Maybe they develop his 3-ball. Like he was shooting it confidently. He was throwing that mug over the rim though. Yeah.
I mean, he was taking it confidently, which, I mean, if you wanted to eventually develop, you want him at least being confident in taking it. But yeah, man, that was.
I don't know, bro. That I was watching that 3. I was like, hey, sometimes that mug cash money. Sometimes you throw that mug, bro. He took a 3. The one that he got dunked on, bro. He missed that 3 horribly.
Yeah,
he got dunked on because he missed the 3 so bad, bro.
That was tough. That
was the basketball guy saying, nah, bro, we're not doing this. But I don't know, man. To me, I don't see a world where he ends up starting, but maybe he does find his way into the starting lineup at some point this season, which I'm not opposed to. I would love to see him out there because it means that 2 years in a row the Bulls developed players in the right manner. But yeah, man, that's all I got today, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Ben Johnson, don't throw me off the show.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
Peace.